more, and there we go. Okay.
Okay, hello, and welcome everyone to another live. And today is a special day. It's Sunday, and Sundays lives are special because we are going to do the story, and of course, Sil is going to share the story and to read, and we will have plenty to think and of course ponder on and do the capital R reading throughout the week. So that's why Sundays are usually, of course, special. Yeah, last Sunday was unusual because we had something different, and it was completely via attunement. So Cher came, and then she was sharing things, and we had a completely different thing. But today we are going back to the story, and when Sil will read, we are just going to listen and pay attention to. I hope that okay, everyone, whoever is going to watch us live or recorded, uh, we will listen to that. Why I'm saying that, why I'm emphasizing more onto that, that if we really do the listening today, then throughout the week when you do the capital R reading, it is going to bring so much more to everyone, because I have experienced that. Yes, of course, I can always catch up when Sil is doing, when we do the capital R reading throughout the week. But it is always good to have something, because even though when we are not consciously thinking about something, our subconscious always catch the profoundness, and it always just keep it there. If any significant thing,
And
anything
it's
unusual,
emphasis,
different, and
which
interesting, it is
matters.
going to be there. And then when you pay a really focused attention, then your consciousness, your conscious, your awareness, your of course focused and attention, they all comes together. And then of course this is the real thing, when you get the more value, when you really get the value out of it. So even if you are not going to remember anything, even if you are not going to recall anything at the time, just listen to the story, because the story is, of course, it's not just a story, it's not simple thing. It has so much more into that. Every single sentence has been written deliberately and really crafted really well, because there are implications for use by using any word, even any noun, even any tense. Grammar and everything is so precisely chosen, deliberately, not precisely, deliberately chosen one. So
Yes,
please continue.
deliberately
Still,
chosen.
if you are done, yes, if you are done with your sharing, so we can
I am.
just get
I
going.
am. I
Yes,
am.
yes.
I'm one thing away. But I'm. So I have something else to share.
Okay.
That before, normally Bina has a thought of the day or something significant that's happened, that's come up. Well, this is my turn now. Yeah, I have them too, but I usually just incorporate them into the general sharing.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I leave it to Bina to share hers, and so often we've already discussed it, and so it's kind of all connected, right? But in this case now, this is completely different and anomalous. All right. Now, as those of you who may be watching this on a regular basis know, first of all, this chapter, which is chapter 17, which is the last chapter, and then chapter 16, they both concern anomalies, right? Chapter 16 is called Boynal and the Anomalies, and chapter 17 is the anomaly of Boynal, right? Kind of flips it a bit. Because it's still all about anomalies, because anomalies are really crucial to Nobelia-Living, right? And to living in attunement, in other words. Because anomalies are the language of the world, the language of your deeper self, your higher self, your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? The universe. Anomalies are magic. They are truly fantastically awesome, as I'm about to explain. Now, to share stories of anomalies is actually very difficult, because when they happen, one moment, stories of anomalies. To share stories of anomalies is very difficult, because when they happen in real time, there's so much going on that it's very hard to share and communicate uh, 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 after the fact, right? Because it is anomalous and it's like a dream. If you don't share the dream right away, you try and tell it later, you might remember it. Sometimes you remember dreams very clearly and they stay with you for a long time. Those are fairly rare. But generally, if you don't share it right away, it goes. Okay. And that's very much how it is with anomalies, because they come and they connect to and talk to from a different part of your brain, like dreams, right? So this is a big deal, very big deal. All right. Anyway, so as what happened is my brother sent me an email. Now he doesn't send me very many emails, and so that's somewhat unusual. But I've been chatting a bit more to him recently. Nonetheless, he sends me an email, and the email is about, well, we look at the title again here to just share that more accurately. The title of the email is Total Eclipse of the Sun, right? And so at first we thought, oh, he's sending me a music video. Anyway, Bina had seen the title and she thought this. But no, that's not what it was. It's about a total eclipse on April the 8th. You say, well, okay, stick with me. All right, so I open the link and it's like, okay, that's interesting because it's in North America and he's in London. All right, so, okay, very interesting. And I'm reading this, going through the link. And as I'm scrolling through it, there's like a photo, but it's interactive. You can zoom in and out on it, and it enlarges the eclipse picture and narrows it out, takes you further, gives you different views on it. So as I'm right on this and I'm zooming in and out, my screen goes completely black. And I thought, oh, I must have zoomed in either too far or too close, and I'm just seeing the blackness of space. And I zoom some more. No, nothing happening. Oh, what's going on? Oh, my monitor turned off. Look there. No, the little light, everything's good. It's on. Yeah. Well, the light comes on when it's off. When it's on, there's no light, actually. Anyway, it wasn't that. My screen is just black, completely black. I was like, wow, I'm having an eclipse on my computer. But when I was reading about this, first thing when I saw, oh, it's March the 8th, I thought, wow, that's really interesting, because on March the 3rd, there's going to be another eclipse. This is what's going on inside my head, right? Just my own fun with it, right? Well, kind of, because what's happening on March the 3rd, that's when I start my podcast series.
No,
And
it's April still. Sorry.
I'm sorry,
Sorry, April.
April. Yeah, dang it, don't let me get the things wrong. It's April the 8th and April the 3rd, right? I mean, is the eclipse on April the 8th? I'm pretty sure it is. Let me see. I hope I didn't get this wrong now. Oh, anyway, if I did, then we're even more. Yeah, no, April the 8th, 2024. A total solar eclipse will cross North America, passing over Mexico, United States, and Canada, right? This is NASA now. Anyway, okay, NASA, no feedback for you right now. I'm busy, sorry. I know normally I would, but not right now. All right. Anyway, so I said, wow, on April the 3rd, there's going to be another eclipse. Okay, this time it's a figurative eclipse. But as I was explaining to Bina, is Norma here, Bina? I don't know. I think Norma said she'd be back on Monday. Anyway, so I'm not seeing any
Okay.
comments there. If you
Okay.
are here, Norma, hello, Norma, if you are here. All right.
Hello,
Now,
Norma. If you're here, even if you're not here,
all right. So what eclipse am
you're
I
going to
talking
watch
about?
recorded.
What eclipse am I talking about? The other
Yes.
eclipse, the figurative eclipse. On April the 3rd,
Yes.
I'm going to be starting this professionally produced podcast series. Right? It's a big deal. This is not just a simple, you go and you chat the podcast and whatever. No, these are 10 episodes that we're going to do. And they come with billboards, actual billboards that I'm going to be putting stuff on related to that are, all over the greater Phoenix area, or there may be in other cities as well. I don't know, but and this is a significant deal. This is a very serious business here, and it's in the top podcast, 1.5% of all podcasts in the world. So it's a big deal. It's not just Mickey Mouse, right? I mean, the person I'm interviewing, that's going to be interviewing me, does red carpet interviews, yeah, like at Oscars, the Oscar red carpet, right? Points and other similar things, right? So this is serious stuff. It's a big deal. At any rate, what I'm going to be sharing isn't just about Way-of-Impeccability and the Sassy group and the Moreness project and the books I've written. But I'm going to be focusing on, yes, all of that will come into it, but the chief focus is going to be on Nobelia and Nobelia-Living. Now, what is Nobelia and the story that we're reading, right? The story is about it's called The New Nobles, at least the title so far, right? It's book one of the Biella series. Um, and it is about Biella's interaction on the planet with these delegates who come there from other planets to join the great agglomeration. And nonetheless, the main focus is Biella's mandate is to show what it is to be a new noble, to show what it is to be a new noble, right? So she's got to show what the planet is about, what the culture is about. And it's a culture and a society that revolves around the concept of being noble in actual nobleness, not being noble with titles and that nonsense and rubbish, which is the very opposite typically of nobility. They're very ignoble, to use the appropriate term here, right? IG noble, ignoble. Right? This is the not quite the exact opposite, but the negative side of nobility, right? Ignoble, very very not good. Though I mean, when you look at like the royal family in England now, I mean not others, because we see them so much in the news. Look at all the nonsense they get up to, and the pettiness and the triviality. It's like, come on, seriously, really, this is you're supposed to be something special and different and more. No, you're far from it, right? I mean, they seriously need to come and do Way-of-Impeccability. Never mind the Moreness project, just Way-of-Impeccability they need, right? It's certainly not very impeccable. Anyway, uh, so the point I'm making is that this conception, nobilia, this world where the society has nobleness at its core, and in order to be truly be noble, you need to be impeccable first, right? To go together. And therefore, this nobleness is something that appeals to those who are fully intent on learning more, growing more, and exploring, pushing the boundaries of themselves, understanding, having depth, having sophistication, having discernment, and being able to apply it, because without application, it's nothing, right? So they need to exemplify all of these things in order to truly be able to act nobly. Because, first of all, noble means that you have pure motivation. Noble is bonus goodness, but it's also goodness that comes from pure motivation. You cannot possibly do a noble act if in the back of your mind you're thinking, well, I'm going to look good doing this. Instantly, noble cancel, right? So that's why you have to have impeccable character before you can truly be noble. This is very crucial, very big deal. Camillus, one of the characters in the book, he would argue it's not possible to deliberately be noble. Now, he's wrong in that, but of course he'll argue this, and he has a good argument. But he comes to realize that this is not something that he can actually argue. But he does mention it privately. He thinks, no, this is. He actually uses the word ignoble. He says, there's nothing more ignoble than to consider yourself noble. But he doesn't voice that, just a private thought, right? And well, in the conversation, he says it out loud, so but it's still a private thing. Anyway, it's something that in the character that underlies Camillus, he did share with me, right? And then he dropped it because when I explained and said how it comes about, he realized, no, this is possible. Right? Now, in this that I'm saying, the point I'm making with the eclipse, this concept of nobilia, a world revolving around a society of those who wish to be noble, who wish to learn, to grow, to know more, to take themselves as far as they go on the path of learning and growth. Right? This is a paradigm shift. This is something very different, particularly the noble aspect. Yes, and also the other important thing is nobilia is the school of the new nobility. The whole planet is a school. Yes, and in literature, I have read a tremendous amount of literature. That doesn't mean that I've even close anybody who's read, a tremendous amount. It's still nothing compared to what's out there. But at least you have some idea. And at least within the classics, more historical classics, yes. Utopia novels is one. Utopia by Thomas More. Right? And that's where the word utopian comes from, because of that novel. Right? In other words, idealistic societies. But there's a few others. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley is another one. But in Brave New World, there are problems. not really that utopian. And the same thing with Thomas More's utopia. It's idealistic like Plato's Republic, but well, they're not very feasible. Is usually the problem with utopian novels. If you go and look on Amazon right now, there are very few books that are truly utopian. Dystopian, there's a zillion of them, right? Which is obviously where the things break down, post-apocalyptic. All right, post-apocalyptic slightly different in the genre to dystopian, but they're very closely linked, right? In other words, society where things are all a mess and wrong, or a society where you've got an elite or an oligarchy and they're manipulating the society and you've got to follow the rules and you're being farmed for your blood or some crazy nonsense like this, right? Tons of these novels, dystopian, where the society is completely balked, right, messed up. Right. Anyway, now for utopian novels, and is particularly a feasible utopian novel, this I do not know existing, and if somebody does know, please tell me, right? And particularly in the way this particular society and culture that I have created is. This is a very realistically feasible happening. Yes, not on the planet wide, maybe not in the galaxy, in the agglomeration, fine, that not, but the actual culture of the individuals. This I know is feasible. Why? Because I experience it and I am part of it every single day on a small scale, but every single day I am connected to a new nobility culture, small community. Yes, in that small community, this is a culture that's there. It's not quite as specifically focused as it is on Nobelia. It's not quite as deliberate, but certainly much of it is there. I mean, if that the community that I'm connected to, that I'm talking about, if they were to all have the time and the freedom to do so, right, and be focused on what the typical new novel is focused on, it's going to be, they're going to be there fairly quickly, right? They're going to go from aspirant to new noble fairly quickly, right? Yes, there's a lot to learn. There's a tremendous amount lying underneath becoming a new noble. It's a very, very high bar. Yeah, but doesn't matter though. It's a feasible bar. It's a realistic bar, right? And that's the point I want to make. And also the grander point that this conception of nobility as something that is a named concept, something that we are striving to pursue, that we are looking to live according to and by and have it be an influence in our lives. And the culture of nobility, the culture of nobility in the school of the planet, this is revolutionary. This is an eclipse, not just revolutionary, but it eclipses everything else. When you start to get involved in this, and Bina will tell you this very clearly, and so will Sher and others who partaken in this, they will tell you it eclipses everything else. And that's the point. What I am sharing is an eclipse. It's not just an improvement, it's an eclipse. And when you go and look up the word, right, when you say, oh, the sequel eclipsed the original, right? That's a very big different statement to saying, oh, the sequel was better than the original. You get, well, better than, then you get significantly better, then you get profoundly better, then you get eclipsed, right? It leaves the original completely in the dark. And this entire world, this conception, this paradigm, this moreness that I'm sharing, which is Nobelia and the new nobility, this culture revolving around nobleness, it is an eclipsing it's an eclipsing paradigm. It's an eclipsing culture. It's an eclipsing story. It's an eclipsing world, thought, idea. Yes, a very big deal. You could say two examples that are easy to connect to that many of us are aware of is, well, Harry Potter and Naruto. Yes. Now, what is the equivalent in Harry Potter? It is Hogwarts. Nobelia, Hogwarts. Take Hogwarts out of the Harry Potter story. Keep everything else there, but basically have all of Harry's adventures with he who must not be named and all this happen while he's on vacation at home, or and while he is at home, and somehow his family that's looking after him, his uncle and the aunt and that and his cousin, they don't know what's going on, or all these mysterious things happen. I mean, you can still make a grand story out of it, but it won't be the revolutionary world connecting story. It won't go viral in the same way because Hogwarts is not there. Why is Hogwarts so important? because it makes it an eclipsing story. Because Hogwarts is a place we can all want to be in. Yes, this is a cool place. Yes, we might say, well, yeah, we all want to be Harry Potter. No, not all want to be Harry Potter because, well, he's in the limelight, he's got responsibility, he's got all this danger and pressure. No, I'm happy to be Ron or whoever, one of the other students, right? Or just myself in the school. Yeah. So Hogwarts is the key, the crux. It's a world and about wisdom. Problem with Hogwarts is that, well, we can't really do it. It's not real. It's not feasible. Same with the shinobi world of Naruto. Yes. I mean, when you look at Naruto, the character, he's a noble soul, right? And like Hinata, noble soul, almost all of his friends, right? Gradually, they come to get this connectivity to the nobleness of spirit that Naruto exemplified. This is the thread that goes through the whole story. However, the problem with that is that the shinobi world is totally unfeasible. And it's actually a massive conundrum. There's a conflict in the story because the shinobi world is essentially a world based on violence. All that training that they do, look at Bushibrow and Bushiabrow. They train like crazy. But what are you training to do? You're training to be violent. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit counterproductive, right? Because if you have a noble soul and you're a good person, you don't really want to be violent. Yes. Now, in on Nobelia, they find other ways to deal with the untoward, right? And that's a very long story. But when you have a culture that's surrounding nobility, yes, now especially like on Nobelia, and well, it's a long story how that is the whole galaxy is connected to this, and it's a profound thing, right? Now it does take this major shift and change, but it could happen in our world here too. Yes, that should this culture start and spread, it's very hard to be anti this culture. Very hard to be negative against it. Very hard to even. Now you're going to be look at the real fool if you're trying to wage war against this. And anyway, there's many reasons why you can prevent this. You say, yeah, but you're making yourself vulnerable. Not necessarily, because there's other ways that you can deal with things other than violence, as we know and see in our world already, but people don't want to believe. Anyway, there's a paradigm shift. In other words, an eclipse. And so, as I was sharing this, reading this link of my brother that my brother sent me, which is somewhat anomalous that he sent it to me, right? Very interesting. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm assuming he sent it because it's in America, right? But it's like a month away, and this is just quite fantastic. But it's right at that date when I'm going to be sharing about this eclipse from an understanding and awareness point of view, an eclipse culture, an eclipse paradigm, an eclipse moreness, this world of Nobelia. Because unlike the shinobi world, unlike the wizardry world, this is one that is attainable. Yes. I mean, you see all the lessons that Harry does, right? You can repeat the lessons. I mean, they show some of the lessons. You can repeat it and get the wand and say what he says. You're not going to produce any magic, correct? Same thing with the shinobi training. You can make all the hand signs, right? Whatever. You're not going to have any power come out of you. Well, maybe, but not as far as I know. However, all the training that is undergone on Nobelia is available to you, and you will get the same results as they do on Nobelia. All of those characters are real. They're based on realness. Biella is completely based on realness. Most of Biella's conversations are conversations that were held in real time. They're not even edited for improvement. I included the text exactly as it is in the original conversation. All I did was, fix typos, obviously, but also just change the context, right? It's a very particular skill. I call it enfolding. I don't know if it's being done anywhere else. I suppose maybe it is, but especially to keep the original text. I like setting myself. I'm like Bushy Brow and Bushier Brow. I like setting myself extra degrees of challenge difficulty. Yeah. So when I did this, I said, well, I could edit the thing and no, it's an extra challenge to include the text exactly because I have to justify it sometimes, which means I have to change the whole world to make that the sentence or whatever comment work, right? The whole circumstance, the whole environment. It's a very fun challenge. It's difficult. It's very difficult. But it's a profound challenge. But I like the fact that with many of the characters. Not all of them. Some of them are created characters. But Camillus is a major character. I mean, it's 2, 3 chapters where he's a very prominent character. That's all real conversation. Same thing with Hyla and Boynal. These last 2 chapters, right? It's the end of the book, right? I mean, the person, their name's not Boynal. I gave them a story name. But nonetheless, the conversation between Biella and Boynal is all real. Now, I think some of the conversation that Biella had was attributed to Illumina in the story, nonetheless, because when she talks to Boynal directly, it's all real, all real, all real, 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 real. That's very important to me. That's why this is such a paradigm shift. And you can see in Biella what she's doing. In other words, there's proof, at least if I can share with you the original conversation, that this is not something that some writer just sucked out of their thumb and, made sound fancy and, make you believe it's real. No, I can show you it's real. That's a very big difference, right? And this is why Nobelia is an eclipsing paradigm, because the intent of the story is precisely to show the same mandate as Biella has, except slightly different. In this, that there is this philosophy that was already created, a complete philosophy, complete practical philosophy, not just hypothetical, because theoretical is not actually the actual correct word. Theoretical, actually, we come to mean as not really true, not really realistic, but actually, theoretical means it's been proven to be so. That's when it's a theory, right? It's been proven to be so. So somebody misunderstood the use of the word theoretical and we use it incorrectly. It's hypothetical is what most people mean when they say theoretical. Theoretical is proven. Hypothetical is a speculation unproven as yet. No. So on Nobelia, that I said this philosophy of mine, which is the philosophy of appropriateness or the A+ philosophy, this is something that's complete, cohesive, and it is proven from living it, right? Because the part of the philosophy is to live it, to apply it. This is the core of the whole philosophy. It's a practical philosophy. That's practical, right? Without application, it's all meaningless. Right? It's not just this dry stuff that you read in, go to university, and yes, it all sounds good, but then when you go and apply it, that doesn't really work. Sounded good. Yeah, it's much like martial arts, right? Much of the martial arts, it's fantastic when you're there and you're doing your training and all this stuff. But get in a real fight, any MMA will tell you, it doesn't work. That's why you don't see in MMA, right? You don't see the martial arts the way you practice it in a dojo. You don't see it inside the cage. You see MMA there, right? Very different thing. And even that's not entirely real because, well, there are tons of rules. No eye gouging, no fish hooking, no biting, stuff like that, right? No groin kicks, stuff like this, right? No back of the head strikes. If you're in a real fight, all of that is up for grabs, right? So also not quite 100% real. However, what I'm talking about, and when you listen to people who have partaken of this paradigm, they use this stuff every day in their lives, every single day in, day out, transformed lives, very practical. In other words, an eclipse. Yes, an eclipse, right? And that song that Bina thought my brother was sharing, Eclipse of the Heart, it's a very profound statement to say an eclipse of the heart. When you understand what eclipse means in the way we use it in our language, right? It totally makes the thing that was before or relative to it into a nothing by comparison. Eclipse is a paradigm shift, right? So this anomaly connected all of this together. And it obviously now connects to the story, right? And because the story is about Nobelia. This is what we've been sharing, right? The whole planet, the sharing of nobleness. Whoever gave me a heart, thank you very much. I saw a little heart float up there. Quite a fun thing. Quite a fun thing to see that, you know. Is that you, Bina? Did you give me a heart? Bina? I'm not hearing you, Bina. That was you.
Yes, I was. Yes.
Did you give me the heart?
Yes, I was just typing there, like I was in the group. So yes,
Not on the live itself.
on the live, but in the group. From the group, I had to log into my Facebook, and then I had to go
Oh,
there
I'm not
to
seeing any
listen.
comments. That's interesting.
Yes.
Is there a
So
comment?
that's why. No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, anyway, it's fun to see the little heart. I never saw that before. Plugged up like that. You know what I mean? Oh, very cool. Very cool. Anyway, so this is very cool. This sharing of this real-time anomaly. That while I was reading this, and on that photo, that you can, interact a photo, I can zoom in. When I was doing that, my screen eclipsed. Yes, I mean, yes, it rebooted, but not in the normal way. Typically, I've had this before. My computer will just reboot for some unknown reason. Who knows? Glitch in the power or something. It doesn't matter. But usually it goes black, and then a few seconds later, you see the DOS on the top of the screen up there, right? It tells you the kind of typing in the DOS old style, and then you get the Windows thing come a little after that, and then start. This was like a black screen for more than a minute, much longer than usual. Very, very anomalous. It's Bina. Hello, 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 Bina. Hello. Well, I like that comment there, and I can see it and see that it's live. Brilliant. So yeah, anybody connecting to this, please comment. Please comment. We like comments. The comments are important. They are quite magical. All right. On that note, let's start actually reading where we left off last time. Now that the screen rebooted, I'm going to have to guess a little bit where we stopped 2 weeks ago. Because it's when normally my computer stays on 24 hours a day. Therefore, wherever I stopped in the file, I'll just continue from there. Yes. But when it reboots, then it takes you end up at the top of the file again. So I'm going to have to figure that out a little bit. But I thought this was quite exciting. I was hoping that my brother would come and listen to the live. I think he went offline. That's okay. I sent him the link, Bina. He can watch it later on.
Mhm.
What is the time now? 34. So I'll say it's basically the first half an hour, right? After Bina's introduction.
Hmm.
So you stopped at about 5 minutes, 4 minutes past when I started.
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, I'm pulling up the file here in a second. Uh, when it reboots, then I have to do everything all over again. It's a little complicated. Gets a little complicated. All right. Oh. It didn't. It opened up back there. Another anomaly. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I don't have to find where we left off last time. It opened the file up right there. Wow. Wow. That's wonderful. That's most wonderful. All right. Let me screen share and then we'll start reading. Any comments, Vina, on this anomaly of the eclipse? Before you say, I just
It
want
is.
to
It is.
emphasize, but I'm going to be sharing over the course of those 10 podcasts, and then they're going to be rebroadcast for a whole year, right? These podcasts are going to be on the network, right? They repeat them. Um, this is a big deal, the sharing. And what I am going to be sharing is going to be focused on this culture, this different new paradigm shifting, this culture surrounding and society, this culture of being noble. Very big deal. Very big deal. All right. Sabina?
Yes, I was just saying that. Okay, this is very interesting. The anomaly of eclipse. Eclipses are always there when there is a new energy uh, get birth or like uh, being created. So it is to that, okay, yes, the old paradigm and then of course the new concepts when they merge together, or like okay, when your previous self and or your previous understanding uh, comes and encounters a new perspective, new way of being, it creates a new you. So this is very much aligned with the whole thing what you were sharing about eclipses. Eclipses are just the merger of two energies and creating a new one. So this is okay.
Well, there's
Just
some
it
moreness to an
becomes like very
eclipse,
interesting.
right? I mean, the actual eclipse is
Yes.
something getting in the way of something else, right? An eclipse is the moon getting in the way of the sun in a very particular way. Yes. Now, the moon may be a small thing,
Yeah.
right? The moon is small relative to the sun. It's small relative to the earth. I mean, really small compared to the sun, not so much compared to the earth. However, it's 1/6 of
Mhm.
the earth. That's why the gravity is 1/6. Anyway, more or less. Uh, however, though, a small thing can have a profound change. In other words, yes, when you look at the sun as our prevailing paradigm, which is the superiority paradigm, here comes the moon and says, no, sorry, yes, we're not going to have that. We're going to change everything. Yes. And once you've experienced an eclipse,
Mhm.
you kind of look at the world differently, right? Especially if you don't know what's going on, right? Like in olden times, right? When eclipses happen and, they were associated with really radical, profound shifts of thinking, of being, right? And that's where the word eclipse comes from. That it's a radical shift, and it makes whatever it was nothing comparatively, right? And that's why it's a big deal. So yes, it's the analogy of the physicality isn't quite so, but to me, it is important though, because the moon can have
Yes.
a profound effect. It can change your view of it, everything. Even though it goes past and the sun comes back again, once you know that it can affect the entire world, the small moon, it can, that's all that you need. Yes. And this conception of nobelia and nobelia-living, a society based around nobility and moreness, and pursuing that moreness, and having this thrill, this desire, this relish of learning and growing, and who really maximize their living. And they are maximizing individuality on top of it, right? No belief required. There's so much. I'm going to be sharing all of this in the podcast. But when you realize that it's possible, everything changes. Everything. All right, let's get back to the story here, right? Where Boynal is saying they're wrapping up, right? They're still now, Biella and
Yes.
Illumina have been explaining why the anomalies that came to them, not to Boynal. We're going to talk about Boynal's anomalies here in a moment, right? But the anomalies that they see, like his language usage and stuff like visas and travel and all of the other things, the aspartame and all of this, these don't exist in the agglomeration. So they're anomalous, right? And Boynal was on Nobelia, and he went back to his homeworld, Theodral, but it exists and supposedly part of the agglomeration, but there's no information on it. This is like really weird, right? So all of these things, and that's where we're at now. Uh, Biella's been starting to explain why this is anomalous, but she's going to go a little bit further. And she did explain that old Earth is missing and it's not there. And these are things that seem to come from that, but there's this oddity of these messages that they hear every now and then, and they just assume they were bounces in the universe of old transmissions, from centuries ago. But but it doesn't all add up, right? And we're going to get to this but, like what it is, right? And also, Boynal experiences an anomaly right then as he's talking to the Biella, right? It doesn't quite grab him in the same way it does Illumina and Biella, and I'm assuming the other aspirants as well, right? Hey, I understand that, says Boynal. The world is an external expression of the internal. Where I am right now is exactly the same, caught between worlds, it seems. Biella elaborated on her last concept and what Illumina had said. If we simply say, I don't believe in the process, I don't understand it, but I'm going to test it anyway, and we give it a good and thorough test, seeing if we can get value out of it. If we do that, we are usually pleasantly surprised when we end up with a technique or methodology that works for us, that helps us, that has value, despite us not believing it or understanding it. Biala added, it is so awesome. It is. It is profoundly and ridiculously awesome. As a magical. Yet I have been told, says Bueno, we don't need to move to grow. This is running away from ourselves. Biala brought the essential point to bear. Yes. So now I guess the task is to trust your outside self for a change, to try and hear what outside you has to say. Inside you has come to a dead end. Yes, I'm trying. Hey, yes, but you can't try anymore. I'm tired trying to understand. Biella felt for Boynal. He was in a tough place to be. It's just letting go, waiting and watching, all the while staying connected to your intent, the intent of what you truly want. She felt a bit of encouragement was needed. And yes, to hell with understanding. It doesn't matter if we get value. This is the trouble. I don't know what I want anymore. What I did want seems not to be the case now. A significant problem for Boynal. Without clear intent, it would be difficult. Biella laughed, trying to lighten the mood, even though she was not sure how it would be rendered at Boynal's end. But intent had a way of communicating and attaching itself to words. You probably don't understand how your mobile works either, Biella said, surmising. She wanted to reference it for any reaction to its incongruity. A crisis of intent. Difficult. Boynal indicated amusement. But you want to learn and to grow, yes? Biella asked. I want to help people, but I know I have to help myself first. That first part, Illumina observed, that's the block. It's causing distortion. You want direction, yes? Biella asked. Hey, that helping part, people part, it almost always causes lots of trouble. It is a type of inverse intent because it is a bit of a square circle. Anytime we decide to help someone, aren't we being a bit presumptuous? Biella felt she might be losing Boynal. She was pressing slightly. The situation called for it. Hey, we have to help ourselves. Even though Boynal understood the point, Biella added a supportive argument. Sometimes the inner reasoner needed actual rationale. Let's say I am playing a puzzle game and you come along and help me by giving me all the answers. I'm most likely not going to be appreciative, right? But I think we have to share our gift with the world. Ah, Bina, I just realized something. Yeah. This is what I thought I had told the story of the crossword with my brother. But it's this year. It's in the Biella series, not in Way-of-Impeccability. Well, I it is there, but in a different way. In the story's there, but I thought it was this is what I was thinking of originally. Um, right? It's referenced here as well, in addition to there. I'd forgotten about this. That's what I'm trying to say. So let me just put that in there for my brother because he was quite interested. Okay, all right. Sorry for the interruption here. This is noble. Okay. Uh, oh, come on. Oh, because it came from that incident. This point, right? It came from that. I was doing a crossword. My brother came by, walking behind me, and he saw I'm doing it. Leaned over my shoulder, saw what I was busy trying to figure out, and gave me the answer. He's very, very good at crosswords. He's actually written a book about crosswords. Very, very, very detailed, very in-depth book. Like really cool. It was awesome stuff. Um, well, at that time, he didn't write it. We were kids still, and I was 14, and that would make him 18, 18, 19. But when he gave me the answer, I said, "Hey, bugger off, get lost." Maybe I wasn't quite as polite as that. I was a bit miffed. I was like, I was not amused, very much so, because he killed it for me. He'd robbed me of the joy of figuring it out myself. Not just the joy of figuring it out, but even worse, he robbed me of knowing I could have done it on my own. That's a very significant point. Yes, very big deal. I felt it very strongly then. Now you might say, well, he only gave you the answer to one thing. You could do it with other stuff. Yes, in that case, there are more clues I could figure out. But he may have given me the essential clue that solved the whole puzzle. Right? Now, I don't know if I can solve the puzzle. And also, my motivation is a bit compromised because I have this negative association with it. So I don't even bother with other ones. Yeah, because I'm in it there. That didn't necessarily happen, but in life, this does happen. Because my brain didn't think that way, but we do think via association, and inappropriate associations are massively powerful. And it could easily have happened that I'm not only turned off doing crosswords, but I'm also turned off figuring it out for myself. Yeah? Or because by implication, I could come to easily believe because my brother helped me, by implication, he doesn't think that I'm capable of doing it. And now, fortunately, I was not in that mindset at all. But I've seen this many, many times. If my brother had been a very influential, authoritative figure to me, I could have absolutely taken this without even realizing it as a cueing. And I talk about cueing in the programs, and it's a huge deal. But this illustrates how our brains can work. I could easily have taken his solving it for me as cueing that, well, he doesn't think that I can do it. And, well, he knows he's an authority, somebody I look up to. Well, okay, I can't do it. And I come to believe it without even realizing. It changed my life when I understood you. Literally, I completely changed my life in the most radical way because I had been on the side of my brother. Now, in this case, it didn't happen. I'm just saying how it could have. But I was in the side where I was doing something that was cueing somebody to behave utterly inappropriately. And that horrified me and scared me, right? So I changed my life. Really seriously. It's a big deal. It's a big deal at this point, right? That's why I'm elaborating on it, right? So you're all connected there. Thank you, brother. Well, if you're listening, thank you, brother. That inadvertent, yes, you didn't mean it in that way, you didn't intend it that way. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, If we go to the origin story, yes. Now, what if he's from the new nobility's point of view, that the origin story and why it is an origin story? They insist on viewing everyone as an angel. Now, not a religious angel. This is angels from the time before, from the old heaven, which essentially are simply creatures which come or beings whose intent is to be of assistance, real, actual, true assistance. Meaning, like the chief angel, who was the brightest of them all, is also mentioned in this story, Lucifer. Yes, now Lucifer does the horriblest things, but what if what he's doing is actually to our benefit? It's a long story, right? But the point is that angels do what's right for you, not what's nice for you. They do what's good for you. So maybe in that point there, this angel who's my brother, pretending to be just a typical normal teenager brother, knucklehead, some of the times sensible, other times in the range of normality. I mean, he certainly wasn't a typical person, but he's still within the range of normal. Right? But what if it's an angel who did that knowing it's going to have this effect on me, or potentially so, right? You kind of take a bit of a chance, right? Right? If it didn't work, you'll try something else, right? And we typically have this in our lives where things don't work, and then get it kind of a nice way, and if you don't put it together, then you get it in other ways that aren't so nice. He's an angel. This is the new nobility's perspective. That's why the noble perspective, the new nobility, their culture is so profound because there's so many things that, like, holy moly, I never thought of things that way. Exactly. Right? This is the whole point. That's why it's an eclipsing paradigm, because there's so many things, like the origin story. Wow, this is a profound way to view the world. Yes. Doesn't matter if they are actually angels or not. The point is you doing it as an act of nobility to look at him as an angel in that instance, right? Now you have a different reaction. at least if I'd had that awareness at the time, yes, I mean, it had a good consequence for me, yes, but I didn't see him as doing it deliberately, potentially, as an angel. Now, of course, the angel has to forget that they're an angel in order to truly be in this world as a mortal, but the intent is never lost, right? So they do things, and you can't see that it's from an angel because they've forgotten about this. So you can't see it behind, underneath, and they can't, accidentally let slip and all this. Nonetheless, intent to do good and really good for you to be of assistance is profound, right? It's a very magical thing. It's a very magical way of looking at it. It's a very noble way to look at it. Because now suddenly you see people being inappropriate, but you see it as magical. And anything we can take, if we have the appropriate perspective and as part of Way-of-Impeccability, we can insist on extracting the more as an act of nobility, not because you have to, no, because you want to, because you want to see that moreness, give that moreness. My relationship would have been profoundly different, I think, with my brother then, if I'd had that perspective then, right? And our whole lives would have been different because we would have seen had a lot of drama in our lives, in the family. I mean, there was a town scandal involving a lot of stuff happened. That perspective would have been transformative. Now, I did view it differently. I practiced perspective shifting back then in a very profound way that I experienced the whole drama as positive, not as negative. It was the beginnings that led eventually to this understanding of oneness. All right, I'm doing the elaborations which I normally do in the week, but it ties because my brother came into it with sending me this, and it's this point of right playing up and you come and help me. It's all connected, and I want to share this connectivity. Yes, this anomaly of the eclipse. It happened just before coming live, half an hour before, right? So it's all connected in real time. In real time, things are happening. Yes, and I want to share that connectivity because, as Biella will tell you, the whole moreness paradigm, Nobelia-Living, it is connected. It is profound, profound, profound. It is living connected, not just connecting all the conceptions in your dictionary of power. Another phenomenal, radical, eclipsing, paradigm shifting profoundness. Yeah, but it also connects you to the people around you. Everything is connected. Yeah? And when I was shared, like Obina shared with her two sisters, which helped me in other things too, in the business that I'm in, right? As Bina does also. Uh, when Bina shared with them that I'm going to be doing this podcast, and yes, it's a paid for service, but you can't. Not anybody can do it because they don't want you on their podcast. Well, it's subsidized as well. Advertisers are picking up the bulk of it. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. However, um, they don't just want anybody doing this because then you pay to do it and you got a lame product and you're a lame interview and you're just boring. Well, you're gonna ruin their platform, right? So they want people that are significant and that have good that the readers want to the listeners, I should say, the listeners want to hear from, right? So they did like a test thing, which I didn't know was a test. So they invited me to come on the thing, the 5 minute interview. Okay, they didn't say 5 minutes actually when I came. Then okay, that's it. Oh, right, it was very quick, right? And then they use this to gauge the reactions. Very clever, very clever. And I scored 9.7 out of 10, with the average of those typically somewhere around 8. Right? So people score fairly high because they at least select them fairly well in the first place, right? So from that, then they further reduce the selection. So anyway, that's why it's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. All right, nonetheless, let's get back to Boynal and Boynal's. We've gone 2.5 chapters. Sorry, 1.5 chapters, a long time, without Boynal really getting to the root of what is getting him stuck. The very next sentence is where we really get to it now, right? Boynal says, but I think we have to share our gift with the world. Now Biella responds, I mean, we can't possibly really know when our help is actually helping or not. But sharing is a whole other matter. Yes, sharing has a sweetness, wonder, and mystery all its own, Biella said, quoting one of the rules of sentience. One of my favorites, Illuminia noted. Hey, help to one is hell to another. Sharing is the free gifting of what works for us, what we like, and what we find valuable. I'm going to rest now, Biella. Thanks again, friend. I will keep seeking and knocking. I'm sure something will happen. Biella saw the message and wrapped up. As soon as we shift that intent to helping, we almost always get pushback from the universe because that intent narrows our awareness. We move away from enhancing our own. We start to think in terms of what would be helpful. It's a kind of delusion. We cannot ever truly know what is going on inside someone else. Also, as in our puzzle example, helping is often the worst possible thing we can do. We can deny others the opportunity of learning for themselves, of figuring it out for themselves. Yes, agree. That makes sense. We can only figure out ourselves. A perfect summation and takeaway by Boynal. Biella liked the way figuring it out and figuring ourselves merge. Ourselves being more than our inner thinking. Yeah, added. Ourselves being more than our inner thinking. Love to you, Boynal. Later, she ended using the term again. It seemed appropriate. Yeah, Boynal agreed. Later, sending love back to you. The connection terminated. No mysterious message this time. Takeaways! Illumina said energetically. She wanted to get the mood up. It seemed to be flagging someone. It is so uncertain, Helmut said. Yes, said Nora. I too would like to be more sure about Boynal. I mean, I don't know for sure if he really is going to use and apply what has come his way. He reached out, Marco said. That changes the dynamics of the interaction. It gives license for a different type of communication. Letting others be is hard. Letting them alone is very hard, Shaw added, neatly encapsulating their mood. This is- Letting others be is hard. Letting them alone is very hard, Shaw added, neatly encapsulating the mood. Such measly takeaways, Illumina grinned. But yes, it is tricky. Boynal has to figure it out for himself. It's up to him to adopt the concept of anomalies, to integrate them into his personal world. It's not. There are many implications, Illumina smiled. A smile filled with the beauty and wonder of the mystery of anomalies. It also had a touch of sadness. She was acknowledging that sometimes there was only so much one could do. At some point, others were on their own. She retrieved her enthusiastic grin, explaining further. To me, what makes the critical difference is understanding that there is an inside me and an outside me. Oh. The outside me is my unconscious or superconscious or the world or the universe. The new nobility generally referred to it as the universe, but that's just our preference. How exactly we see the outside me does not matter. On many worlds, it is defined as deity. It really does not matter how we understand it. The key is to understand how the process works, how to use the process, why it has to work the way it does. Once we do that, it all falls into place. Illumina looked towards Biella, sensing Biella may have something to add. Biella did indeed, elaborating on what Illumina said. We have to at least, we have to have at least two parts to us in order to consciously know one. This is obvious once we think about it, but it is not so until we do. She matched Illumina's fun grin. The new nobility see that part that is not the inside us as the part of us that already knows, but is not yet conscious. The part of us that does the describing of the world, the part that translates energy into matter by slowing it down with consciousness. The details of this process do not matter. It is helpful to some to have an underlying rationale, but it is not necessary. Yes, said Ursula. Yes, Ursula was thinking it through. If we get beneficial results, Repeatable results will help us and add value. What does it really matter how it happens? Cross zero, Illumina quoted, paraphrasing slightly. Belief is not required. Simply having an awareness of the possibilities implied is enough. Behaving as if they were true or just testing them out provides the benefits. Rule of sentience zero is the suspension of belief and disbelief. Exactly so, Biella agreed. The new nobility see our outside part as the part that knows, but not consciously. Our intuition or the source of it. Some call it collective or racial wisdom or memory. Again, it doesn't matter. That superconscious part knows our conscious part is following a path of awareness. It attempts to assist. It can only assist indirectly, otherwise, it will interfere with the awareness attaining process. Awareness can only be acquired within, otherwise, it will not be true awareness, but a program. Illumina continued the explanation. Thus, the outside part gives the me that I know inside, the me I describe as myself. It gives me hints, clues, suggestions, minors, puzzles, etc., usually in the form of something anomalous happening in our life, or the odd, very unusual, impossible, maybe even weird or strange. The reason it comes to us as anomalous is to draw our attention, but have to be on the alert. But have to be on the alert. You have to be paying attention to what comes as it connects to what we intend or have intended. The assistance we give ourselves is going to be connected to our intents. And it is our true and deep, long-term intents, not the superficial wants and desires we think we want. The assistance we give ourselves is geared towards what is good for us. But what is good for us is not necessarily nice for us. To restate what Illumina said, we can think of it all as a dream, a meta dream, one we are dreaming for ourselves. The other. The question is, how do we communicate with ourselves in this meta dream without giving the game away? The dream is a dream of awareness. We wish to foster and stimulate that awareness in our dreaming selves. The greater self has to do this without direct input that would defeat the objective and lead to programming. Once we learn the language of the dream, there are hints, clues, suggestions, oddities, reminders, peculiarities, the unusual, what grabs our attention, all the anomalies. Ah, ah, it's very important that this is a compound, a compound concept. It's like language of the world. Ah, the unusual, what grabs our attention, all the anomalies. We can then begin to truly live the story of our lives, the story of a marvelous adventure into awareness, where everything is geared to that end, geared to us specifically, individually, with the utmost intimacy, and intimacy only we could know. The magic of this tale of awareness is so incredible. It is hard to comprehend and accept at first. Biella was laughed. Yes, I know I restated what Illumina said. This is such an important part of what it is at the core of the new nobility. It bears repetition. I can see that, said Ursula. I have heard you speak of this many times now. Always I listen with fascination. I hear the importance of it. Yes, making the jump from hearing and understanding to application is a huge, even with all that has happened today. So far, she added with a grin. Her recent experiences had led her to expect the unexpected, especially when in the company with the new nobility. It was phenomenal. Just the sheer energy they exuded, things happened to her. Diana, however, felt drained. The conversation with Boynal unexpectedly taxing. Illumina, will you please get everyone to the top of the grand? terrace. Maybe have a bite to eat. I will meet you there soon. Yes, certainly. Uh, it's been a while since we mentioned the free chat, so we may have forgotten that's why they're meeting at the top of the grand. Yes, certainly. Illuminia immediately turned to the group and started organizing, making sure to shift attention away from me. She knew articulation required inordinate amounts of energy. Biella wanted to recharge for the free chat. Oh, I don't have to say that. It's a little mystery, yeah? Ah, okay, I see now. Biella was still tired as she met with the group at the top of the grand terrace. I have been thinking about this, she said, since I have received such a clear mandate to show what the new nobility is, what it is to show what it is to be a new noble. To show what it is to be a new noble. Instead of the usual format, I would like to undertake a variation with your help. Normally, for those of you not familiar, a free chat is usually a smaller group. The idea is just to throw out thoughts, concepts, ideas, perceptions, and so on. The others respond with relatively brief responses. The idea is to run through a range of concepts. I would like to keep that free and fluid back and forth, except I would like it all to come to me. I do all the responding. I don't wish to influence the free chat in any way. My idea is in responding to all the variety coming my way. I will hopefully be able to show what new nobility is all about. I am hoping to tap into areas which have not as yet come up with the delegates, to access a broader range of topics, to show more of an overview. Biella was about to get started when drops began to fall. A marvelous storm was moving in fast. Looking to the storm, she said, "We'll meet here tomorrow morning early." The delegate, she said, "Illuminia will get you situated near here for convenience." As everyone rapidly dispersed, Biella said, "Hey, Ursula, a moment. Ayla, Ursula, a moment." They stayed behind, joining Biella as she started moving back towards her apartment. "I would very much like it if you would stay over with Illuminia and I. It would be splendid to watch the storm together, and it would help me." Ayla and Ursula both felt Biella's fatigue. Saying nothing, they smiled happily, extending their energy and love to Biella. Back in the apartment, they arranged the furniture in a semicircle to look out across the river, out across the magnificent view of that extended valley. They settled in comfort, content to simply be with each other. The storm was in fact multiple storms. They watched the drama play out across the huge wide valley. The storm centers moving as if competing for dominance, pushing other storms out of the way and getting pushed themselves, all with displays of ferocity and energy to match the scale of the stage. Some merged and joined, seeming to dominate this battle for dominion of the valley, only to break apart from internal strife. Then merged and re-merged with a pyrotechnical display that at times streaked from horizon to horizon. The thunder so dense and felt, they felt viscerally. It shook them, instilling a potent vigor. Wow. They merged and re-merged with a pyrotechnical display that at times streaked from horizon to horizon. The thunder so dense and felt, though so dense and fierce, they felt it viscerally. It shook them, instilling a potent vigor. Illumina rejoined. The energy from the storm infused the friends. Each crack of thunder seemed to go right into them and come out as screams of laughter. Ayla and Ursula were delighted with the spots of Biella and Illuminia to the storm. They reveled in it, relishing each streak of lightning chasing imaginary targets, each peal of massive thunder a gift of joy, a celebration of being alive. They shared in the exuberant appreciation, sharing the wonder and magic of being alive. This ends book one of the Biella series. Ah, Elizabeth, are you still there, Bina? Did I put you to sleep?
It's hard for me to go to sleep like this. So yes.
I'm just teasing. I'm just fishing for
No.
compliments. Just being
Yes.
naughty.
Yes.
Not really fishing, but I have fun fishing for compliments because I don't really care, but it's fun doing it. Just being naughty kind of way. All right, so there's a bit more here. A bit more about the author. There's typically that afterwards in the books that I have in the back cover, right, about the author. Right, but there's a twist here
Mm.
about the author. Anyway, before we go, any comments before we go to this? None?
No, no, please continue. Please continue.
About the author. The author is a practical philosopher who writes, preferring to live his philosophy and be known via the application of his way of living revealed in his life. Uh, preferring to be known via the application of the ways of living revealed in his life. About the reader. Oh, we have a little twist. Normally it's about the author, but now we've got about the reader too. Oh, okay. There is a bit more, Biella said, smiling.
Yes, that is the one very interesting for me too. Yes.
I love this. I love this. I love this. There is a bit more. Now look here, by the way, if you don't know, when you see square brackets with that dot 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 in, this is editing that says that this is taken out of a larger piece of work, right? This is taken out. Not that when you see the three dots like this, right? Dot 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 and lowercase. That means that this is the end of a sentence that was before. Right? But when it's in square brackets, that means that the editor of the story has taken that what's coming out of a larger story, right? A bigger work, a bigger piece of writing. Just a good thing to know, be aware of. About the reader. There is a bit more, Biella said, smiling. A side note of sorts. Long before this happy occurrence, a good friend of the young man had asked him what exactly he meant by the right reader. A spiritual reader, the young man replied. And what is a spiritual reader? The young man thought deeply. He knew, but to express his conception, difficult. He explained. I'll start with what I'm not particularly after. I'm not really looking for a reader who is after the superficial, who wants to be mollified, placated, soothed, artificially bolstered, lied to, always looking principally for the story and action of the usual kind. There is, of course, nothing wrong with that. It's just not the focus here. Even though there is considerable story, it's just different. He said, however, my original statement of sooner or later the right readers will come into my life is one that comes from deep. Is one that comes from deep. It comes from more than my conscious self. It comes from outside of me. Oh, okay. It comes from outside of me. I surprised myself the first time I said that. But I'd already learned by then to take note of such things, not to write them off as silliness or as misexpressions. So I stuck with it, despite the incongruity. Such statements that have come to me in the past have been life-defining, and I expect this one will be no less so. For it is not a hope or a prediction, it is an intent. I am making it so by saying it is so. Biella considered. She had heard the story many times, had told it many times in different formats, in different ways. In different ways. But still, she considered, we are in a perpetual feedback loop with ourselves. Biella continued. The young man explained, I do not want the typical, the usual. I want more. What is the more here? He asked rhetorically. I want to be with readers who will share my journey, for it is a spiritual journey. I want to be with readers who will be prepared to go wherever that journey takes us. The readers who are open to whatever possibilities and potentialities that journey reveals. Readers who are unbound by convention. For already my journey is far outside the constraints of convention, and it is likely to become more so. I want to be with readers to whom this is important, to whom spiritual concerns matter, not merely matter and are important. No, more than that. I want to be with readers to whom spiritual concerns are paramount or consuming, the most important and critical focus of their lives. I want to be with readers to whom self-growth is imperative and urgency, readers to whom every single action is geared towards this end, readers to whom this is their life, to whom everything else of life is merely a tool to further this goal. This, to me, would be a spiritual reader, one truly so, not one that says so, or even believes so earnestly, but doesn't fully act on it. For if one is truly serious about spirituality, how can it not be the most consuming activity of our lives? The other end. The young man was not done. A spiritual reader in this case is of the mindset that life is meaningful, that there is purpose to life. Not only that there is meaning and purpose, but that everything has meaning, that it all makes sense in one way or another. That the task of the spiritual reader is to find that sense, to connect more fully to the connectedness they already feel, to polish that link to spirit. That is what makes them think and feel spiritually. This deep connection to what they find, to what they intuit as spirit, moreness. That connection is via personal character. That connection is via personal character. Character is profoundly sacred to the spiritual reader. It is the foundation and starting point of everything. It is what is built upon and expanded every opportunity. Character is imperative. Without impeccable character, the moreness path is rife with subtle pitfalls. Spirituality is seen as a goalpost or beyond character. Character is the full connectedness to self, without any compromise of integrity. Spirituality is the connectedness to what lies outside the self. Spirituality is the connectedness to what lies outside of self, without compromise of sensibility. This is the reading I want. This is the reading I want. The young man's friend replied. The theme of your books is trusting the you, and I trust that if you are reading these words, this book has something for you. Just so, replied the other. Just so. Those that will join the community of readers I envisage will find their way via the you. For actually, it is not readers I am after, but true friends. From the story of the new nobility. Just so, replied. Just so. Those that will join the community of readers I envisage will find their way via the you. For actually, it is not readers I am after, but true friends. from the story. What a way to end the book. What a way to end the book. That's all I can say on that. Yes, Veena?
Yes.
Yes, says a true friend. That has been found. That has been found as part of this quest.
Yes.
It's real. It's real. And others, there's more, right? Via you, others
Yes.
have become true friends too. Yes, that greater community. Yes.
Yes.
It's real. It's real.
Yes.
This is not a artificial thing. It's real.
And it is not
Real.
difficult also.
Real. This
And
is
it is
not,
not difficult also.
not
Not only it is attainable, it is real, but also it is not difficult.
exactly. It's not impossible. It's not improbable. It's not difficult. It's not a struggle. No, it's a joy. And it's a
Exactly.
massive
Nothing.
amount.
Nothing.
What did you think of the ending of the
Isn't
story itself? The Boynal ending with the
Oh
storm.
yes.
Oh yes,
Yes.
what?
No, I'm just holding. I'm deliberately holding my comments on this because there is a reason for that. There is a reason for that. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, when are you holding your comments for? Now is the time.
No, okay, because okay, tomorrow then we will go into the capital R reading because it is this story. It sounds like okay, yes, they are sharing, and for them, like for no for Biella and for other people, this is a simple thing. But as someone like okay, like me, or of course many other people out there, it's a very complex topic. It's a very complex topic. One of my friends said to me that okay, if you can start just following and try to understand and figure out the anomalies. Okay, they were not using the word anomalies. They were saying about omens because they didn't have the concept of anomalies.
Yeah,
Saying one can go crazy. Just accept this, and one can go crazy.
yeah,
But when I start learning about really understanding about because you shared the concept of anomalies, and the way you shared that now it's no risk or danger involved into that, like okay, yes, I will go crazy because okay, there are so much woo woo stuff involved into that. But when you made that actually it's a new concept. It's not like woman at all. So when you introduce this concept, it opens up so much into the awareness for me that yes,
yes,
this is very personal. It is not only that okay, in those moments, in that particular situation, universe is communicating with me, but the awareness that universe is communicating with universe does care about me.
yeah,
And right now what is happening in my life is not just randomly happening. I'm like nobody is going to be affected. It resolves so much into the awareness of anyone. Just the concept of anomalies happening into anyone's life, of course it happens with everyone, we don't pay attention to it.
correct, correct,
But this understanding that how important our actions, reactions, responses are, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me. So yeah, for me, that's why I'm just holding it back because I want to learn more about this. This story is not just this story again. It has so
not
much
even
more into that.
close,
We
not
have
even close.
exactly, exactly, because just one concept, just one understanding that universe is communicating with me, directly communicating with me. This anomaly happens for me. the whole
Yes,
the whole
that's the
universe is
important part.
considered
That it is specific
exact.
and individual to you. That's why
Yes,
I changed this word omen to anomalies. Right, anomalies is my word
exactly.
in this application of it. Right,
Yes,
as a
yes,
synonym for omens. Keep going, Vina, because
yes,
of what
yes,
Vina's saying.
yes. So this awareness is coming. Okay, of course, a lot of privileges, of course, like, okay, yes, okay, I'm important. Yes, okay, I'm not alone. Yes, I'm not. But also it is coming up with so much responsibility. If anyone, like, okay, if you are communicating with your friend and if you are responding to them, don't you to expect that, okay, that person is going to at least responsible enough to pay attention to what they are saying right now and pay attention to what they are doing in general. So for me, if anomaly is happening and I'm aware of it, I feel a big huge responsibility. I have to be very careful about my intents, my actions, my responses towards anyone
Exactly.
and anything, because now I'm directly okay, yes, universe is communicating, not only communicating but making things happening only for me. So my actions are uh, very much in a position that it is going to affect other people, maybe. I'm not saying universe, but of course it is going to be noticed. So that's, I have to be very scrupulous about my intents and my actions and reactions. Not only because that, okay, it is going to affect my life, myself, but also in general in others. Like, I'm not that insignificant, so I can just hide and do whatever I want to, and it is not going to affect anything in the world. It is going to change. It is going to impact. And that's why it is the grandeur of this awareness is actually making me like, oh, silent for moments, because it's a it's a big huge responsibility, I feel. It's fun, but it is also a big huge responsibility. I cannot be ignorant about these things. I cannot take it for granted. I cannot be just, oh yes, okay, yeah, whatever. No, this is my life. This is right now what is happening. And this huge, huge, unlimited, infinite universe is communicating with me directly to me. How can I be ignorant about these things? How can I just take it for granted? So for me, anomalies, the concept of anomaly, if we just take it, of course, locally and on an abstract level, it's a big concept. It
Yes,
is.
because to paraphrase
Yes.
you and do a repeat back takeaway,
Yes,
because
please.
you are making the point that anomalies are interconnected. I didn't just make up that word. Yes, I did, but it's perfectly valid. Right? You
Say it
taking
again,
a.
please.
I said this the profoundness of what you are sharing. Anomalies are profound because they are interconnected. It's not a common word.
Yes.
Yeah, interconnected,
Yes.
but
Yes.
they are interconnective. Right. So I'm taking interconnect and applying a known suffix to it and changing the meaning of the word. Perfectly valid for those who don't understand, right? I'm not making up English words. I am, but this is part of English that you get to make them up by taking a known word and you add a known prefix or suffix to it. And now you make up a new usage of the word. It's not a new word, right? It's there, just nobody did it before. It's like moreness, right? Actually, moreness is actually in the dictionary. It never was when I was a kid. So I don't know, since I've been using it maybe. But I looked it up the other day because somebody made a comment somewhere and said, oh, moreness is not even a word. What do you mean by moreness? Why don't you just say more? No, there's a very substantial difference between moreness. They
Does
specifically
it
said
make
it's
any
not in the
difference?
dictionary, right?
But
No,
does it make any difference?
no, it makes no
Many
difference
people in
whatsoever.
this world, they have names, very beautiful name, and their names have no meaning at all.
Precisely,
Nothing.
precisely. Doesn't
just
matter.
just
Doesn't matter.
sounding good type of combination of
Right,
alphabets.
right,
and
right.
and
But to
and
get back,
it does
oh,
it does
sorry,
it make
go
any
ahead.
difference?
No, none whatsoever.
No, so that
Sorry,
for
to
me
get
the
to
beautiful,
get back to my point, I don't want to
even if
lose
you
this.
have created.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go
No,
ahead,
please
go ahead.
continue.
Sorry, I just don't want to lose the point I was making
I
about.
was just saying that, okay. It's a delay,
Yeah,
sir. Sorry.
yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm enjoying your chuckle there. It's very beautiful. Fun.
I don't want to overtalk, like, okay, talk to me like this, but
Yeah,
please
yeah. Well, you were
continue.
making a
Continue.
wonderful point, Mina, about your takeaway on the anomalies. Why anomalies, not omens, are so powerful. Yes, because omens have this implication that they have the same meaning, and you can go and look it up in the book of omens, and it's preposterous. That's why they've fallen out of favor, and sadly so, because with omens falling out of favor because this insistence on giving them a meaning that applies to everybody, omens became a general communication, and it's a misunderstanding of them. No, they are a personal, individual communication, as Biella explained. Bina, sorry, well, and Biella, right? Both of you, right? Explain. And this is what makes them so profound. And you added something that is a very profound thing that Biella did not in this case, because it's not appropriate here, mention, right? Your takeaway, if you had been there, and she said takeaways to the aspirants, right? And you made this takeaway that you get the Illuminier would have jumped up and down in joy, and saying, "Man, that's new. That's different. That's an added extension. This is not one that is commonly shared, and this understanding. This is fantastic. Why?" And you said, "But what did I say that was so profound? Because you added the conception of interconnectivity, yes, and thus the anomalies bring up responsibility, because yes, it is for you personally. It's very intimate. It's connected to your intent, but you realize, oh my goodness, here is something happening that changes things, and it is connected to me and me personally
Yes.
and me and my intent. Therefore, since I have
Yes.
this interconnectivity with others, with the world, right? What happens to me is going to
Yes.
also affect them. Yeah? There's a fantastic,
Exactly.
fantastic
Exactly.
takeaway. Fantastic, fantastic takeaway. Illuminier would have hugged you most thoroughly, and so would Biella and all the aspirants, and Ursula, and who knows? I suspect the big woman would probably have joined in as well.
Wow.
She's very fond of hugs. She's very fond of hugs, the big woman. Yeah. Will smother you with her hugs. Even if she doesn't know what it's all about, she may not quite understand, but man, I want in on this hugging here. This seems appropriate. That's the big woman for
Okay.
you. Yeah, that
So for
personality, right?
I don't know how big the big woman is, but
Oh, she's huge. She's huge. She'd completely swallow
then
you. I mean, I don't
Noah
even
would
think
be like
you
a soft
yeah.
toys for her.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I think your head would come like to the middle of her abdomen, probably, right? Right. So
Oh
she'd
my God.
hug you.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, yeah. She's huge.
Okay.
She's a giant. She's a giantess.
Then she would love to hug, of course, like okay, yeah, my teddy bear is. Oh, here's my bunny.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like for us, you like hugging a child. I mean, but being is just average height. She's not particularly small, but it would be like you hugging a child. Yeah, but she has that hugeness, that largesse of being this big spirit, which is why
Oh
she's called the
yes,
big
oh
woman.
yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah. Very magical. I love this point
Anyway,
though,
so
Bina, that
that's that's
your
why I was just
takeaway,
listening,
right?
and it happens many times with me when I'm listening to someone. You might assume that okay, oh, I'm just half asleep, or
No,
maybe I'm just like because the process is going on so much in my mind
yeah,
and of
yeah.
course in my heart. So my expression and my body language would be like, okay, oh, I'm completely lost. Yes, I am lost in that
Yes.
story. So that's why the camera might not be appropriate for me to putting on camera sometimes, because when I'm listening to
Yeah.
something, I'm I have no idea, no clue that okay, what's going on around me.
and
So
and
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 even
also you have
sometimes
no clue what's going on your face.
exactly, I don't care about that. I
Wow,
completely simply no
wow.
don't care about that, because my mind is okay. I am not a person who can do multitasking easily, and immersion is something I have. I do know
Yeah,
that okay,
in
sometimes it
spades.
is, yes. So it is
Mm,
something very profound. So yes, it gives me a lot of benefits also,
mm.
but yes, also that okay, when I get immersed into something, other things might get sometimes neglected. So like okay, oh, my facial expression or my visuals, that okay, yes, this could be because I'm completely immersed into
Yeah,
that story, and
yeah,
I don't want to actually look at anything
right,
else,
right, right.
and I
No, it's
don't want to
wonderful,
hear that.
wonderful.
So
But
yes,
but it can be misperceived. because it may
Exactly.
look
Very
as
easy.
if you're not
Very
interested because you're far away and there's a neutral expression on your face.
yes.
But yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful how immersed you get. But now, for anybody who watches these series regularly, you can see why it is that I press Bina for her comments. Yeah, because this is
Yes.
regular. I get this on a regular basis from Bina, and hopefully she gets it when I listen to her stories. This moreness, right? Bina brought a profound connectivity here. Now, capital R responsibility is in our dictionaries of power, and it is
Yes.
very much discussed in a very big way in Way of Impeccability. And it's a huge deal for the new nobility, precisely for this reason that Biella just articulated. But it's new to me, this precise articulation of it, this connectivity of anomalies to capital R responsibility. It is a very magical thing. That's why I asked Bina so earnestly for her comments and takeaways.
Yes. Yes. I am a very good listener, but you might not believe that.
No, you are. You're
If you look at
fantastic.
me.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm just saying that, okay, in general,
Yeah.
because I'm a
Yeah.
very good listener. I
Yeah.
listen to my friends, and Mama also has this thing. My mother also complained that, oh, you didn't look at it. And I said, Mama, I don't need to stare at you, but because I know, but okay. But coming back to the profoundness of
I
this
think you have to
anomalous story,
invest, Bina. I think you have to
yes,
invest in a very fashionable pair of indoor sunglasses that are worn for the fashion of it, right? Not for the sunglasses.
exactly. Yes.
For mama, for mama.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So coming back to the anomalous anomalous story.
Do you own a pair of
This
sunglasses that are fashionable? Sorry to interrupt you. Good.
yes. No, 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 it's okay.
I've never seen you with
I will come
sunglasses.
back to it.
Okay.
Oh, I do have. Oh, yes, I
Okay.
do have.
Oh, wow. Okay. To come back to the anomalousness of the story. Yeah.
I have more than one, of course, because I like to, and we have a weather
Wow.
for that. So
Wow.
yes, yes.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, coming back to the anomalous story, I'm calling it anomalous story.
It is. The
Sometimes
whole
when
story is anomalous.
yes, sometimes when the profoundness of any sharing grabs you, you miss a lot of details, like when you ask any florist to make a bouquet, they have, okay, yes, these are okay out of roses, these type of roses, tube roses with long stem and all that, but they also add fillers to that. In a story or in every sharing, whenever I'm sharing, even when I'm sharing a real incident in my life, it's also a story, and the main point is something else, and the fillers are they complement that story, but they are not the real thing. That okay, like the bouquet is of the tube roses or the long stem roses or whatever, but the fillers also add the beauty to it. My mind, or of course it happens with every, I assume that, okay, with everyone, if
Hmm.
you by chance grab the real importance of that story, the other things get a bit kind of like faded, and
The
then you
moreness
just
of the
because
story, in other words.
exactly, yes, when you grabbed by the profoundness of that real important
Ah,
thing.
wait,
Yes,
wait, 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 wait. That's different. Not when you
yes,
grab
it
the
is different.
moreness, but when the
No,
moreness grabs
no, when
you.
you grab by,
Now, when the
exactly.
moreness grabs
So
you.
if
Now,
you yes, yes. So when if you ask me that, okay, what Boynal was saying at the time, what Biella was saying, I might not be able to recall that instantly. No, because I was not paying attention to those things. I was grabbed by the real importance and the real thing of that moreness into the story. So it and this is, I think that, okay, this is also needs to be a part of capital R reading. If you
it is.
if
It is.
yes, it has to be,
Capital
if
H
it
hearing.
clicks.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
Capital H hearing.
Yes. So yes, sometimes it happens with me that, okay, if you will ask me, Bina, sometimes when you ask me, Bina, just repeat exactly what you said, and I'm like, I don't know, because in my mind the concept is clear. The words are just like, okay, fillers, okay, but they are of course they have
Wow.
importance or their own.
I
I
asked you
was
to
grabbed.
repeat exactly what you said, not me, because sometimes I didn't hear it
No,
properly.
yes, I'm saying that even when I'm saying,
No,
but the
no.
concept is clear and so important in my mind, my words, I don't know that, okay, maybe I just said that. So it happens with me. I'm saying this because it is not anomalous, but it is, yes, a bit unusual that
Yeah,
stories real message grabs you so much
yeah,
that you might not be, you are not able to actually pay attention to that what
yeah.
else
You
might
lose
happen at this.
yourself in this world
Exactly, exactly, yes,
temporarily, of course. But yeah.
yes,
Now,
of
not
course,
always
temporarily.
temporarily, because you did get lost in this world when we first met. It grabbed you so much that you made a transfer. Yes, you were in and you just stayed in this world. You didn't
Oh
leave.
yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, exactly,
That's
exactly as you
fantastic.
said that. Yes,
Fantastic. It's such a joy, such a joy. Now,
I
that
was not
transition
believing when
didn't.
you were saying that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
sorry, I was not
Go ahead.
believing when you were saying that. Okay, the awareness and the growth process is like a snowball effect. It is going to compound, and I was like, no. If it is not going to happen like this, and I was assuming that it is going to take decades to reach where I am right now. It's not very far ahead, like, but still, even this progress, I was not expecting in just couple or okay, yeah, 3 or 4 years. For me, it is going to take like decades to be able to understand, or sometimes even just grasp
Oh,
the
but oh,
moral of the story or the real message of the story or anything, the concepts, and being able to share what I really feel and think about things. That was really beyond my expectation. But it really happens, and it happens with me, that it is compounding, and it is compounding. Sometimes I feel amazed by, like, wow, oh, is this really me? Yes. So it is happening. It is happening. So for me, why I'm still sticking to this, because I see the value and I am receiving the value continuously, regularly, without having any stop or any breaks into that,
every
continuously. So
single
how
day.
I would ever think of like leaving it? I might, because if I would not getting any value, I might, if I would get trapped or just by my ego, then yes, okay, oh yeah, it's done. But if I can see the value and continuously, and it is getting like more and more and more profound for me, how can I leave this? I don't see any chances. Of course, I'm not claiming anything, but it's like a never-ending thing for me. Really, there
And
is a
also,
reason for that,
right,
for
right.
sticking.
Now,
There is a
yeah,
reason, very
yeah, yeah.
profound reason for
But
that.
right, but let's just be a little bit more clear that this this moreness, this value, is a moreness value, which is different to regular value.
Exactly, exactly.
Why? Why? What is the difference between moreness value? Because moreness value is hard to explain. It's almost hard to comprehend. But also, what is a key feature of moreness value is the joy and the magic of joy and the joy of magic. Right? This is a
Yes,
very big deal. This magic has a very particular joy to it. It blows your mind. And when your mind is blown in that particular way, it is a joy like no other.
yes, exactly.
So when we understand this, everything changes, right? And this is moreness, concept of moreness. That is so pervasive that with this detail. About
So
moreness.
your sound is a bit unclear. So please.
Ah, I say Nobelia-Living is about moreness. Yes?
Yes, yes. It's
Sorry,
all
I
about
came here to
motivation.
make coffee and I forgot that I'm not using the mic on the headset, which I have on because I'm listening on the headset. I'm using the mic on the camera back there, and that's why I wasn't speaking, projecting through that mic. So, sorry. But this moreness living, it is something that you never get tired of. You do this every day. Nobelia-Living is moreness living, same thing, right? But it's moreness living in this paradigm of Nobelia, which involves
Yes.
attunement and anomalies and sharing and practice and application and confirmation. Yes, look at this. We've
Yes.
discussed these things many, many, many times, right? But
Exactly.
today it came out in a different way because of part of this Nobelia culture is the culture of repeatbacks and takeaways, right? Which is exactly what
Yes.
Belia did. Yes. And look at the magic that resulted. Fun. I'm going to be, Bina and I are going to be discussing this, what Bina just shared, this connectivity of anomalies to capital responsibility. This is a fantastic thing. This is a very, very profound thing here. It changes for me, it changes everything. It's one of those life-changing, changing understandings and awarenesses. Now, for me, yes, uh, I can't say it's a huge surprise, but it is phenomenal in still, because I understand it. It's not like a new understanding, but it is a new expression, a new communication of something that was there. Being put together something that is implied, yes, and that
Yes.
implication to articulate this is a huge deal because it makes the communication and understanding of it so much easier. And it's a very big deal. This takeaway of again, it illustrates the purpose and the point of our being here, which is to communicate a paradigm shift. That there is alternative, or there are alternative paradigms. The one that we are sharing, we aren't saying that you have to do this, you have to be shift to this paradigm. No, you can shift to other paradigms, but that it's possible. Right? And we're illustrating it through our activity. Not only that it's possible, but we're showing you this in real time.
Yes.
Yeah? We're showing you this different paradigm. And again, this what happened now, this profound insight and understanding and awareness, really, it's a massive thing about anomalies. Right? This came because of the paradigm. Because of the paradigm, one of the things that are included in this Nobelia-Living paradigm is the feedbacks and takeaways, right? Both of which I did. And Biella Bina did, right? Biella
Yes.
shared, I gave her a feedback and a takeaway, and then she shared some more. And through that, we refined what she was expressing into something
Yes.
where we can use it, right?
Yes.
Anomalies, interconnectivity, responsibility, right? Those are the three
Yes.
core concepts there to just
Yes.
really abbreviate, right? And
Yes.
this is fantastic. When we can do this, we've added to our dictionaries of power. We've added to our language of conceptuality, which is the language of power. The real power, the power of understanding, the power of discernment, the power of awareness, the power of application. So very wonderful. Paradigm shift eclipses, right? The
Yes.
paradigm that eclipses other paradigms, right? It's not
And
just
just
different.
just one exactly. Just want to say something about the immersion, uh, because I have heard some of well, my friends were saying that, okay, Beena, oh, you have this opportunity, this possibility in your life that you can do like this. I kind of disagree with that. First thing, it's not just happening because I have nothing. I am making deliberate choice every single day to focus on these things. Otherwise, I do have a lot of other things happening in my life. So that
Oh,
that is the
you're
first
very
thing.
busy. You're very busy.
Yes, first thing. It is just about my priorities, what we do, what I'm choosing every single day. And even like for Sil, he has a lot of other things going on in his life. It's not like that, okay, we have nothing else to do, that's why we are doing
Well,
this.
no. Oh,
No,
well.
it is a lot of other things happening which really need the attention and focus. And if we can do that, then of course, if we will choose to do that, we can of course get a lot of other benefits also. So it is not something just happening because we don't have anything else to choose, but it is happening. We are doing this by making every single day a deliberate choice to do that.
There
and
you
and it
go.
is
And
and
that's
it is
transformative. A deliberate
and
choice.
exactly, yes, yes. And also that this is not uncommon. When we are studying, like, okay, every one of us, we spend 10 years, we all almost spend 10 or more or less 10 years in the school to learn to be able to do something. Did we ever say that, oh yes, okay, so I'm not going to spend ten years of my life, yeah, it's like useless thing. We do that. Why it is okay, yeah, you can question about the system and all these things, but we all do that. Almost we all did. And then to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or a business person, we do allocate some years of our life to actually do that. We choose to do that. We make a choice. We all made a choice to get a degree, to get something more than your degrees, diplomas, everything in your life. When you try to acquire a new skill or you want to excel in your life, you do make a choice. This is exactly what is happening right now. When I'm making this choice to choose it deliberately every single day, I'm choosing myself for myself. I want to,
I'm
this is
I'm
my
choosing
choice.
myself for myself.
Yes.
Very cool, very cool statement. I'm gonna put that in my quote book, my quote file.
Okay.
Keep going, keep going, keep
It,
going.
it's an idea that, oh, it needs a lot of things and we have so many other things. It is always, and it was always like that. When we were young, like in our school time, we all had a lot of things happening in our life, but the school was there. Okay. When we had that, the college time in our life, we all had so many things happening in our life, but the college was there. When we were in the university, same thing. When we are in a relationship, same thing. Does that relationship stop everything else? No, it's just become part of your life, part of yourself. So this is how this learning and growing is also for me. This is my choice. It is not actually eliminating anything from my life. It is just becoming part of my life, regularly part of my life. That's it, and myself. And this is something I think we all, okay, whoever wants to learn and grow, we need to understand that it is not going to eliminate anything from your life. No, it is just going to become, it needs to become part of your life, existing life. I am not living in some like completely isolated environment. I'm doing everything in my life as a normal person, as a normal uh, a woman in Karachi, in Pakistan. I'm doing shopping. I'm going attending family
Normal, like,
gatherings.
yeah.
And then I'm doing cooking and I'm chatting with my friends and I'm doing everything. It is part of this. So it is just me. When we are doing things like that, when we are making it a deliberate choice, they become part of our life. They become part of ourselves. That's it. So our life
Very important, very important.
potential just expand, our possibilities. Uh, we get moreness in our time, like in 24 hours. I also have 24 hours, still also have 24 hours, you like every one of us, but we have so much moreness into that. So we can allocate 2 hours for just this life, or sometimes more than 2 hours. But we have so much moreness into that. Wow. So we can allocate. I'm hearing myself.
Sorry. Yeah, yeah. Well, I was refreshed the page and I have to
Okay.
turn off
Okay.
the
Yes. And before that, we were busy in doing some other things also.
yeah.
And it's an attunement
Ah,
also.
that
Yes.
reminds me. One
Yes.
important point of what you're sharing, why this paradigm is an eclipsive paradigm. By the way,
Yes.
I chose my background before the anomaly of
Oh, yes.
eclipse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just by the way. Yes. I mean,
Wow.
I don't know, it just This is a very appropriate background. That's very
Oh
cool.
yes.
All right.
Oh
So
yes.
another reason why this paradigm of the nobility paradigm particularly is an eclipsive paradigm. Again, another new word, eclipsive. Huh?
Yes.
But appropriate. You know exactly what I mean. Yes, so I'm just
Yes.
making this point that these people don't understand this about language. You can make up words because it's I'm using a word and I'm adding a suffix and it's a particular meaning of that word. It's not actually a new word. It's just a particular focus on a particular usage that's not commonly used. That's all. It's not really a new word, right? But anyway, this paradigm, the Nobelia-Living paradigm, that's the paradigm we're talking about, the Nobelia-Living paradigm, the living was around the concept of a life as a culture based around the concept of being noble. And it is an eclipsive paradigm. And one of the reasons is, as Bina was making great effort to communicate, that we are involved in this not because we have free time and nothing else to do, but because we make the deliberate effort to make time, to make space, as in capital H
Exactly.
hearing. We're
Exactly.
making space for this to happen, right? And making space is a very profound concept. It's a huge, huge module session in capital H hearing. There's a lot involved in making space. Yeah. However, what makes this an eclipse of paradigm is that when we do our regular stuff that would otherwise be just ordinary world stuff, this paradigm affects that those endeavors and they become more. That's why it is an eclipse of paradigm. Right? So even when I'm doing the regular things, that's why I said regular and I was having fun with it. Because when you go shopping, you aren't just doing regular shopping. You are shopping with this moreness paradigm in you. So shopping becomes a moreness activity, correct? Because
Exactly.
of just for one
Exactly.
thing, you're doing it deliberately. You're washing the dishes, you're doing it deliberately. Whatever you're doing it deliberately. It becomes a moreness activity. And you find stuff in it that, oh, wow, something it leads to more. Right? Like when I wash dishes, I can't tell you how many wonderful stories have popped into my head with washing dishes. I remember one in particular. Oh, oh, it's a comment. I thought it was somebody commenting comments, but no, it's just a message. Right. So the mornings of washing dishes, to give you an example, right? So I'm washing dishes. It was after Thanksgiving, and I said in my story, right, that there were guests there, and right, let's say the husband Pete, right, and the wife Mary, right. Mary had prearranged with Pete to that his part of the contribution for the Thanksgiving dinner would be to take care of the dishes. Pete, on washing the dishes, reflected hearing Mary take over the conversation with all the guests. Oh, I see why she insisted on me doing the dishes because she didn't want me competing with her sharing of the story. Not a particularly flattering view of Mary from Pete, but nonetheless, he grumbled a bit to himself. Okay, I get it. You wanted me out of the way. All right, never mind. I'll do the dishes. And Pete drifts off into a reverie. As Pete is putting away all of the items, drying them and putting them back in the drawers, uh, he's opening the drawers of all the different utensils, that cooking utensils. Holy moly, he looks in this drawer. It's been a while that they did this because they didn't do a big Thanksgiving dinner like this in years before. They always went elsewhere. So he'd never really seen this drawer. What on earth is this? Yeah, he takes out whatever the tool is. What on earth could this be possibly used for? Now his mind, having a very fertile imagination, jumps to things. What on earth is Mary up to with all this thing? And gets all these wild ideas. And he starts to imagine. This is the story. I'm not going to go into the whole story. It'll take a long time. But he gets into
Mhm.
imagining what all these cooking utensils, which he's never seen before, could possibly be used for, but in other uses, right? And he comes up with all these extravagant theories and a very possible different life for Mary. And he has this fun, wild fantasy while doing the dishes, right? It becomes fun for him. He just really enjoys this. And he has a blast doing the dishes because he's come up with this fantasy and the story pulls him into it. Like as Vina said, sometimes the story, the mourners pulls you into it. My point is, when you engaged in mourners living, now it's not about Pete, it's about me. I was thinking up this wonderful story, completely lost it. I didn't even notice doing the dishes, right? Had I not been doing dishes, I wouldn't have come up with that wonderful story. It's a very cool story. Well, when I write it all out, it's better no more, right? But this is about moreness living. When you do things, stuff happens, anomalies happen. When you go into it with that clarity of intent, with that deliberateness of being, you start to connect the moreness. And sometimes you extract the moreness. You don't even connect to it, you extract it, right? Because there's a whole session and it's called that. Insisting on extracting the more, right? With insist and extract being emphasized, right? Insisting on
Yes.
extracting the more. It's a skill. It's a skill that we can develop. And this is why the paradigm that we're talking about, Nobelia-Living, is an eclipsive paradigm. Important to be aware. Very, very, very important. Um, okay, so we'll just say to that person there that yes, it's 65 if they come and pick it up. All right?
Okay, okay. I'm going there. I'm going
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's only 65 if they come pick it up. If I'm going to ship it, well, then I'll do yes, 69 or 72 or something. All right. So anyway, so what Bina and I do, yes, you know, selling stuff on eBay is the primary business, which can be very boring for a lot of people, yeah. But for us, it's incredibly joyful. It's magical all the time, every day. It's just there's so much to it, and we have a blast doing this. We have a blast doing this. It's not onerous in the least. And on that note, I want to end the live, right? Unless you have something more to add, Bina. It's incredible,
Okay.
the
No, no, no,
moreness
no,
that
no, no.
comes.
Oh, yes, yes. So it is enough for today, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Of course,
All right.
never enough, but for today, it's just appropriate and it is coming by
Yeah.
attunement. So
It's
that's
like
it.
harmonious living. It's always enough, but it's never enough. That is the magic
Yes,
of moreness. Right? It's never
yes,
enough, but it's always enough. That's why it is moreness and why it's called moreness. It's very specific, very deliberate in my usage of this term in the moreness philosophy, right? It's something I'm creating, something I'm putting out there. It's a profound deal. I mean, yes, I'm saying it myself, but man, this is I've connected to profoundness. My skill as an elucidator, which is how I think of myself, is and I have the skill. My skill is to be able to communicate the profoundness that I encounter. Yes, right. In life in general, yes, some of it is a result of the philosophy that I created. But I created the philosophy precisely to elucidate the profoundness that exists. I didn't create the profoundness. I
yes,
created the communication of it, which may be profound. But the profoundness itself is not my creation. Yeah. Yes, I employ the word anomaly and attunement and things like this. I'm just saying what's been said elsewhere, maybe not as well, but doesn't matter. It's still been said, right? I didn't create attunement. I just named it in that way. Others call it going with the flow and all this, but those other descriptions they don't have the same fullness to them. There's a moreness to it, right? But that's why this paradigm, because of the language of conceptuality, it is what makes it an eclipsive paradigm. Right? Not just a new, different paradigm, but eclipsive. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you want me to send the address or would you? I've got it right. Yeah, I'm done.
okay,
I'm safe.
okay,
Done. It's
okay,
done. It's done.
okay. So see you guys tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
and then
Yes.
yes, and we will do
Yeah.
the capital R reading of the story.
Yes.
Actually, we did a lot today, but of course,
Oh, I know,
it
but
is
there's more.
abstract, but it is more abstract. We will go into the details, and
Yeah.
because there are so much into the story, and we are going to explore that by doing the
Right.
practice of capital R
Right.
reading of the story of
Right. Yeah.
yes, anomalies
Yeah.
and
Oh, sorry.
Boynal.
I don't want to forget. There is more that I want to share during the week. What
Yes.
we've been working on. Uh, I woke up in the night and my brain was just on fire, right? As Bina will attest to you. A poor messages overloaded. But what we're working on is part of this big deal with the podcast series is the billboards, right? Like, I don't know, a
Yes.
couple of dozen, 20 or 30, maybe more billboards. At least for now, it's in the greater Phoenix area. And on
Mhm.
these are live, interactive, electronic billboards, in other words. So somebody can be sitting at wherever, in offices of the PBNG group or PBN group, The G is for group. Anyway, where they can send the thing to put on the billboard, but you only get 8 words, right? So we have to come up with 7 words that are going to share and connect and communicate this eclipse of paradigm, which is Nobelia-Living, right? It's quite a task. It's quite a task to do this, right? Because really you've got 7, because the 8 is nobelia.org, right? Or a web address, whatever, right? Uh, okay, well, they don't have to come now. Tell them they can come anytime, today, tomorrow, doesn't matter. And we can ship it. If we ship it, okay, make it 72 if we ship it, right? Because it's kind of a big thing, right? Anyway, so what I'm saying is that what I'm going to be doing in the week is, and you'll start seeing it in group as posts, I'm going to be posting these lines and discussing them and throwing them out there, these messages that we want to put on the billboard. Because, well, if I understood the producer correctly, or if you just take it for granted, they want just one. Well, he didn't say just one, but you may just assume it's just one. And I did mention, oh, can I send more? He said, yeah, okay. Now, I don't know if they'll rotate them or if they'll just pick out of those or whatever. But anyway, I've come up with tons more because I want them to be sharing from a big file of more, right? So that every time if you drive regularly past this billboard, every time you see a different one. Why? I'll explain all of this tomorrow, but I'm going to be sharing some of that in the group and on the lives as well, because it's a big deal. And it connects to a different way of thinking, right? Because this is an exemplification of thinking things through to the end and perspective shifting to multiple perspectives. And also, you want to bring anomalies into this as well. You don't know, you want to get that guidance. It's a very big deal, very big deal. Anyway, lots to discuss. On that note, unless Bina has more to add, there's always more, but see.
Yes, there is always more, but not for today. Today we are all caught up with this thing. So please do share and your comments, your questions, and whatever you like to. Whenever you will watch it. Yes, of course, you're always welcome to join us live in the Sassy group. But of course, you can watch it on YouTube. It is going to be so much more, and of course, it is going to be more precise and profound when, of course, more structured when Sil will start doing his podcast, and we will have this opportunity to actually ask him questions live there too. That will be really amazing. I do invite, of course, I'm going to invite everyone. I really, because the Sassy family, the Sassy community, I really love everyone to be there. But at least all my friends, because the Way of Impeccability participants to join us there. That is going to be a real thing, because this is going to be a completely different experience for me.
Yes.
So I'm so excited for that. On this note, thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Something that came up to me when you said about asking questions. Somebody said to me, and actually a couple of different people have said the same thing in different ways, of course. But they said, Sil, you know why you don't get questions? And I'm saying this from my own experience, and I'm assuming this is so for others too. I said, it is because what you are saying is so much more. I'm so processing it and thinking about it and trying to connect to it and grasp it.
Exactly.
You've said it all. What's the question? You've explained it all. Right? So again, and that to me, I'm not doing it to get questions. I do love the questions, but not to get them. But also,
I always say that, because for me, this is how I learn. So I always share that. It's just a reminder that please do ask questions, even if you think that okay, it's already been shared. If you will ask, you will always get more. And this is how my experience is.
And it's the question is not about the answer; it's about the connectivity.
Exactly.
Right. So when you do, that's what I enjoy about it. One more thing about the questions. It's all connected. See, I was talking about being on the podcast, and how I came to be on the podcast was doing the 5-minute podcast, which was like a test. Right. They're testing to see how the listeners respond to you. Right. Like a focus group, but it's with all their listeners. So when they do the 5-minute, when they get a high response, like I got 9 out of 10 rating. But also what was also part of that, it's not only the rating, but the fact that in this 5-minute thing, and they played it twice just to check. The first one, I got a very high percentage of people calling in on a 5-minute interview, and they know it's a 5-minute interview. They're regular listeners, and they called in to ask questions, right, with a very unlikely chance of it getting answered. Then they played it again because of this high response. Oh, we're going to repeat this, and they played it again a few days later, and they got even more calls coming in. Right? And this is why they said, "Oh, we want you to do this podcast, and we'll subsidize you. We'll get the sponsors to pick up the tab." And why are the sponsors willing to pick up the tab? Yes, I've got to put some in myself because that makes me committed. Is because when the sponsors are willing to sponsor me, they know from the initial report of the feedback that, man, wow, the listeners really connected to this, really resonated, and are very interested in this. Therefore, when they attach their ads to these podcasts, they know they are going to get an interested viewership. It's a very clever business model. Really clever, right? Because when you run ads, you need to know that you're going to have viewers, right? And on something that's live, you don't know, so they have to do a test. Very clever test, clever test. All right, brilliant. All right. On that note, we really will end now because we do have things to do, and Venus got to go and sleep. Yeah, that's why
Exactly. Okay.
the
Okay.
precious
Okay,
beauty
everyone.
sleeps.
Okay.
All right,
Okay. Bye for
all right.
now.
Bye
Bye for now.
bye,
See
bye
you guys
bye, bye
tomorrow.
bye, bye bye, bye bye. End meeting for all.